Following up from some announcements earlier this year, during the department's regular oversight of our execution of presidential drawdown authority for Ukraine, we discovered inconsistencies in equipment valuation for Ukraine. In a significant number of cases, services used replacement costs rather than net book value, thereby overestimating the value of the equipment drawn down from U.S. stocks and provided to Ukraine. Once we discovered this misvaluation, the comptroller reissued guidance on March 31st, clarifying how to value equipment in line with the financial management regulation and DoD policy to ensure we use the most accurate of accounting methods. We have confirmed that for FY23, the final calculation is $3.6 billion, and for FY22, it is $2.6 billion, for a combined total of $6.2 billion. These valuation errors in no way limit or restricted the size of any of our PDAs or impacted the provision of support to Ukraine. And while the DoD retains the authority to utilize the recaptured PDA, this has no bearing on appropriated USAI or Ukraine PDA replenishment funding approved by Congress.
This is my video update from Nicosia, Cyprus on this Wednesday morning, June the 21st. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with an accounting error. A $6.2 billion accounting error. And this is what Zero Hedge had as its title for this story today. Pentagon says it made accounting error, clearing another $6 billion in aid for Ukraine. How could this possibly happen? According to the Associated Press, due to an accounting error, the value of weapons supplied to Ukraine by the United States was overstated by $6.2 billion over the past 2 years. And the Associated Press says that, as a result, the department now has additional money in its coffers to use to support Ukraine as it pursues its counteroffensive against Russia. And it comes as the fiscal year is wrapping up and congressional funding was beginning to dwindle. How about that? How about that? They managed to find $6.2 billion just like that. An accounting error. I love when those accounting errors happen. I really, really love accounting errors. Just the other day, my bank called me and they said, Mr. Christoforou, this is your bank. And we just want to let you know that we were doing an audit, our annual audit, our year-end audit, or our mid-year audit. And we found that we owe you $1 million. It was an accounting error. And we found that, $1 million should really be in your account. I love when that happens. I love accounting errors. Math. Math is tricky. 1 + 1 is 3. 2 + 2 is 7. We can't really fault to the Pentagon and the Pentagon's accountants. Math is fluid. Math is very fluid. It's always changing. So, one day it's we have no money for Ukraine, and the next day, wouldn't you know it, we found $6.2 billion. Let's keep those weapons going. Let's keep those weapons flowing. Oh boy. They're jerking us around. They're jerking us around, and they're keeping this grift going. They are keeping this grift going while they mock us. While they mock us. So I imagine that Lloyd Austin called Zelensky to deliver the good news to Zelensky. Volodymyr Zelensky, this is Darth Austin, Secretary of Defense for the United States of America. Hello, Mr. Austin. Why you speak funny like that? Don't mind the way I am speaking to you, Volodymyr Zelensky. What is important is that we have found $6.2 billion to give you. This is very good news. 6.2 billion, just like that. I like this. I like this very much. I can buy many homes with this 6.2 billion. When I see this money, when will 6.2 billion come to me? Volodymyr Zelensky, this money will be arriving to you very soon. The goal is not to buy homes. The goal is to continue the counteroffensive. Yeah, okay, I continue counteroffensive, but I buy some homes with 6.2 billion. How you find this money? It was an accounting error. Oh, yes, very good. I like accounting error. I like accounting error very much. Okay, Volodymyr, this is Darth Austin signing out for today. And remember, Volodymyr Zelensky, I am your father. Oh, boy. Star Wars theme all around, because as Zelensky, he had the Yoda patch on his shirt during the Zelensky video that he put out yesterday. On my Telegram channel, there were some people that said that the Yoda patch was actually given to him by Mark Hamill. That would make sense. Mark Hamill is, what is he? He's the drone ambassador for Ukraine. So it would make sense that he would gift Zelensky a Yoda patch. So yeah, 6.2 billion to Ukraine. Since we're talking about Zelensky, let's also talk about Budanov, the two Ukraine officials that went missing for like 3-4 weeks. And within the span of 24 hours, they magically reappeared. They reappeared. And I think that Zelensky, well, he reappeared after Putin put out that, well, actually, Russia 1 put out the video clip from Putin's meeting with war correspondents, where Putin talked about the missing Zelensky. So after that video clip went viral, it looks like the Zelensky regime, they had to put something out there in order to seize the narrative, the media narrative, away from Putin, and to try and mock and embarrass Putin, as he said that Zelensky is probably abroad, or you need to know a foreign language to speak with Zelensky. So after he made that statement, lo and behold, within a few hours, you got a video of Zelensky, and Zelensky was commanding the Ukraine military. He's the one that's running the big counteroffensive. That was the purpose of the video. It wasn't only to show that Zelensky is alive and well, allegedly alive and well, if you believe that video. They were very, very deliberate to make sure that all of the time and date references were scattered all throughout the video clip on the wall, on the table, to make sure that we are to trust the video and believe that that video was shot on the 17th of June. Anyway, the purpose of that video was not only to stick it to Putin after that clip of his went viral, but the other purpose of that video, at least my belief of the purpose of that video, was to make it clear that Zelensky is indeed commanding the Ukraine military. Remember in the video I did 2 days ago from Larnaca, I said, Alexander also made this point, that Zelensky missing is not really the big story. The big story is who is commanding the Ukrainian forces in this big counteroffensive, which is now in an operational pause. Who is commanding the Ukraine military if Zelensky has been MIA for 4 weeks? And so that video makes it very, very clear that Zelensky is the one that is giving the orders in this big counteroffensive, which has turned out to be a complete catastrophe and a failure. At least up to this point, it has turned out to be a big failure. So Zaluzhny, he's the one calling the shots. The video is very clear to make that point. And it also makes the point that the catastrophic counteroffensive, it falls on Zaluzhny's soldiers, as does Nord Stream. This Nord Stream sabotage, well, Zaluzhny also had a hand in that one as well. So Zaluzhny's track record is not looking too good. He's commanding the big counteroffensive, not turning out so well, and it looks like the Nord Stream sabotage, the saboteurs, they reported to Zaluzhny as well. That is according to the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, the New York Times, Politico, all of the collective West media publications. They claim that Zaluzhny was the mastermind of the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage. So that is the real importance of the Zaluzhny video that came out yesterday. He's the one that is calling the shots in the failed counteroffensive. Now, a few hours after the Zaluzhny video surfaced, what do we get? We get a Budanov video. Well, actually, not even a Budanov video. We get Budanov photos, 2 photos, and then we get a Budanov video. Budanov speaking to Ukraine media, I believe a Ukraine TV channel. Now, the photos of Budanov that came out, 2 photos, I believe with the Japanese, I want to say the Japanese ambassador or a Japanese diplomat. I forget who the photos were with. They were with a Ukrainian government official, and I believe some representatives of Japan. Anyway, 2 photos came out with Budanov. And these are 2 separate photos. Even though they look similar, they're 2 different photos. But in those photos, Budanov appears to have the same exact pose. I mean, down to the hands, the arms, the fingers, the legs, the facial expression. It looks like it's the same exact Budanov picture in both of those photos. Almost like they took a picture of Budanov in military fatigues and they placed them in one photo, and then they placed him in another. They photoshopped him in both those pictures. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm saying that's what it looks like. I've never seen 2 different photos where the arm placement, the hand placement, the facial expressions are exactly 100% the same. Now, it may look a little different in the way the arms are distanced from the body, but I think that has to do with the angle of the camera. One is taken slightly from the side, the other one is taken head on. But, you know, I look at these 2 photos, and you're seeing these 2 photos as well on the screen, and it looks like it's the same picture photoshopped in there. That's the way it looks. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that that's the way it looks. If not, well, then Budanov, it looks like the guy's got a certain pose. It looks like he's got a certain way to pose when he takes photos. I don't know. But that photo came out. And, you know, graphic designers, photography experts, take a look at the pic and let everyone know in the comments down below. Is it Budanov in 2 different photos, but a real Budanov, or is this thing photoshopped? I don't know. I have no clue. But boy, is the social media, are they mocking this? They are having so much fun with these photos that came out of Budanov. I mean, they are putting up meme after meme of Budanov in this pose. So that's the one thing that came out with Budanov yesterday. And then you had a video, actually 2 videos that came out from Budanov. And the first video that came out was from this TV interview. And then it looks like this was another video, but shot from the side, from a side angle, maybe before he was about to go on air for this TV channel. Now, Budanov, he has a fresh haircut. He's got a buzz cut, and he gave an interview to this Ukrainian media channel. Now, some people are saying this is a deep fake. Some people say the ears kind of look lobbed off. There's a little bit of blurriness around him. The head doesn't sit right on the neck. I don't know. I'm not Once again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not a deepfake AI expert. I'll say it looks real, but who knows? I don't know. It looks real to me. So it looks like he has indeed surfaced. Why you had those photos where he looks like he's all stiff with the Japanese diplomats? I don't know why they released those photos. I don't know. Maybe they want to create some more doubts before he went on air for this TV channel. I have no idea the logic or the type of psyop that's being played here, but maybe it's a deep fake. Who knows? AI is doing some pretty incredible things, that's for sure. But I will say that for the purposes of this video, I'll say that this is a real interview from a real Budanov. I'll say that, because what's really important is not whether this is a real Budanov or not, whether that was a real Zaluzhny or not. The importance of this resurfacing of Budanov is what he said. And what he said is that Russia is about to sabotage, to blow up the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. And that is the real important part of this entire story. Much like the important part of the Zaluzhny video was not the fact that Zaluzhny resurfaced after all this time. Yeah, it's funny, it's interesting, it's fun to talk about. But the important part about the Zaluzhny video is that it's Zaluzhny. The purpose of that video is to show that Zaluzhny is the commander of the failed counteroffensive, whatever that means, and everything that's going to follow afterwards that's going to hit Zaluzhny. Well, that's going to be Zaluzhny's problem. He's going to most likely be blamed for this military catastrophe. That's how I see it. But who knows? The important part about the Budanov interview is that Budanov talked about Russia sabotaging the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. He talked about how Russia sabotaged the Kakhovka Dam. He talked about stuff like that. But the main point is that he is saying Russia is going to do something to the nuclear power plant. Now, when I heard this, when I saw this and I heard this, I said, projection, absolutely. Is Ukraine about to do something to the ZNPP? Yes. And then I remembered Zelensky's interview to NBC News a week ago, where he told NBC News that Russia is going to blow up the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Why is Russia going to do this? Well, according to Zelensky, Russia needs to do this because they are losing so bad in this counteroffensive, and it's all that they can do to win the conflict against Ukraine. In an interview with NBC News, the president of Ukraine said that Moscow, as an occupier, is interested in destabilizing the situation in Ukraine. Russia wants to undermine the ZNPP to impose Putin's conditions on Ukraine. Just like the Kakhovka Dam, because just like with the Kakhovka Dam, they are not interested in security in Ukraine. They want the world to put pressure on Ukraine for the option they need to end this conflict. That is what Zelensky told NBC News just last week. So now you have Zelensky on record saying that Russia is going to sabotage the ZNPP. You now have this real Budanov, or this deepfake Budanov, or this clone Budanov. Who knows? Who cares? Let's say it's the real Budanov. He is now on record saying that Russia wants to sabotage the ZNPP. And what does this tell me? See, they're watching us. The cameras are there. They are watching us. This tells me that that Ukraine is going to do something to the ZNPP. It makes no sense that Russia would do something to the nuclear power plant that they control and that they have been protecting all this time. The power plant that is needed for all of the citizens of that area, or will be needed for all of the citizens of that area. And most importantly, it makes no sense that Russia would do something to the ZNPP now that they are winning, and they are winning big, like very, very big. Why would they sabotage the ZNPP and draw all kinds of international condemnation on them? Why would they do it? It makes absolutely zero sense. It reminds me of the Assad Duma chemical incident. That's what it reminds me of. And the CNN journalist smelling the backpack and saying, "Oh, this smells like chemicals." That's what they're most likely setting up Russia for. And when you have Zelensky and Budanov saying that something's going to happen to the ZNPP, I think something might happen to the ZNPP. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that Russia isn't onto this, and they're probably thwarting these types of activities, these type of sabotage activities. But no doubt about it, sabotaging the ZNPP is on Ukraine and the collective West mind. How do they benefit from this? I think it's very simple. It's the only way they can divert attention away from the failed counteroffensive. Creating a catastrophe at the ZNPP takes away from the failure of the counteroffensive as they go into the NATO meeting. They can go into the NATO meeting in July and no one's going to talk about the failure that was the big counteroffensive. Everyone's going to talk about how evil Putin is and how he blew up the dam and how he did something to the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. And they can then tell Zelensky, Putin is so evil, he's blowing all this stuff up. We need to give you more money and more weapons so that you can fight this evil. And let's not even talk about the failed counteroffensive. Let's not talk about it. The counteroffensive that is counter to me and you and offends you and me and is counter because it's offensive. And now Russia is on the offensive. That's the results of the counteroffensive, is Russia is now on the offensive in Kupiansk and Marinka and elsewhere. But that's how Ukraine benefits. You get the media to talk about another Kakhovka Dam, Nord Stream incident, another Putin sabotage, this time of the ZNPP. You get the NATO members to not even talk about the failure that was the big offensive. They focus on the ZNPP. They focus on a nuclear catastrophe, more money, more weapons to the Zelensky regime. Putin is evil, and the United States, with its mainstream media and social media power, they push this throughout the interwebs that Russia did this, and they caused this meltdown, or they tried to cause this meltdown. I don't know, whatever is going to happen, whatever they're trying to make happen at the ZNPP. They say Russia did it, Putin is evil, and they try to sway some of the neutral countries to go on side with them, because look what Russia is doing. They're blowing up gas pipelines, they're blowing up dams, and now look, they tried to blow up the ZNPP, or they did blow up the ZNPP or whatever. That's what I think is going on. That's the important part of the Budanov video. That's the important part of this video. The whole artificial intelligence, deep fake, real or not real Budanov is fun to talk about. That's the side story. The real thing that we need to be careful for is a sabotage on the ZNPP. We need to look out for this. It's on their minds. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't think it'll happen. I think Russia knows what's going on, and whatever attempts they're making, I believe that Russia will be able to prevent any damage to the ZNPP. They've prevented it so far over the past year and a half. They've been successful in preventing saboteurs from doing something to the ZNPP, but it's definitely on their mind, and it is one thing that can definitely distract and take away from the big failure that is the big offensive, counteroffensive that has now led to a Russian offensive. So that's my take on everything that is happening with Zaluzhny and Budanov, and magically finding $6.2 billion to send to Zelensky, and a whole Star Wars theme. On top of all of this is a whole Star Wars theme, and that's how you know that all of this is it's scripted, it's cinematic in nature, because they're weaving and threading all of these Star Wars themes in there, the little Yoda patches and stuff like that, and Darth Austin talking to Zelensky. That's me. that's me weaving in some Star Wars themes in there. Anyway, let's talk about Tucker Carlson, and I believe he put out episode 6, I want to say. And he talks about Hunter Biden. And Hunter Biden, he pleaded guilty, slap on the wrist, misdemeanor charges, whatever, for tax evasion and for what else? And for that whole gun incident. He's not going to do any time in prison at all, a little bit of probation, and that's about it. That is it. So Tucker Carlson had an amazing monologue talking about this. Basically, Tucker's point is my point when it comes to Ukraine. Tucker's point is when it comes to the Bidens and with Hunter Biden, they're mocking us. They are mocking us. So the Biden White House, they're basically saying, you know what? Let's as we get into campaign mode, let's put these charges against Hunter Biden, slap on the wrist charges, and then when Biden is campaigning, they can't really say, well, you're trying to lock up Trump, but what about Hunter? Biden can then come and say, well, Hunter pleaded guilty, and the legal system, it worked, and he's being punished for it. So you can't say that I'm chasing Trump or going after Trump or persecuting political opponents, because look, even my own son, he's not above the law, right? That's what they're going to say. That's basically the purpose of all this. But I think that this is not going to fool anybody. I think that the way things are going right now, it looks like Robert Barnes, his idea about a big pardon taking place maybe in a year's time as we get closer to the election. I think we're inching closer to that, because these slap on the wrist charges against Hunter Biden, I don't think anyone's going to buy into that at all. People are going to be even more furious now that this guy cheated on his taxes. He was possessing a gun illegally or something like that, and nothing happens to him. I think people are going to be even more furious. And what we're going to have happen as more of the Biden 5 or 10 million to each of them cases exposed, 10 million from, it looks like, Ukraine, Burisma and all this stuff, the more this gets exposed, the more we're going to most likely end up with a situation where the Biden White House, Joe Bidenopoulos, Greece's favorite son and president of the United States, will create a big master pardon for everybody. Trump, himself, Hunter, maybe even Assange, who knows? And that'll be how all of this gets resolved. I think we could be looking at something like that. That's the way we're heading. A lot can happen in the next year. But at this moment, it looks like Biden is not going to be able to cover this one up. And he's going to have to do something to squash these $5 million payments from Ukraine that they just don't go away. This story is not going away. And isn't it interesting how all roads always lead to Ukraine when it comes to the Biden White House? It's always about Ukraine. Is Ukraine dependent on Biden, or is Biden dependent on Ukraine? Is the United States, is the U.S. now just an appendage of Ukraine, or is Ukraine an appendage of the United States? I'm having a really hard time now differentiating between the two. It seems like Ukraine and the U.S., they've just kind of melded into one big blob. That's the way it looks like to me now. It seems like everything that this Biden White House does is all about Ukraine, and everything happening in Ukraine is all about money from the United States going to Ukraine. I mean, the U.S. and Ukraine are essentially now just one big entity. The Biden White House is solely concerned about getting money to Ukraine, even if it means they have to find $6.2 billion just lying around there. Funny that how they never can find $6.2 billion in an accounting error for, say, I don't know, the homeless or education or healthcare. No, there's never an accounting error for those types of things, is there? But when it comes to the war machine, well, there it is, $6.2 billion. How about that? it's the Biden White House. They're doing everything they can to keep the money flowing into Ukraine, and Ukraine is completely absorbed in the Biden White House, to the point of $5 million to Hunter and $5 million to the big guy, allegedly. So Tucker, in his monologue, he actually said that Hunter Biden was selling prints, not the originals of his artwork, but prints, signed prints of his artwork for $75,000 a pop. Let me tell you something. A signed, numbered Dali print, signed and numbered with a certificate print from Dali, maybe you can get 10,000, maybe 20,000 USD for it. But a Hunter Biden signed print, not the original oil, not the original, a print is going for $75,000. Come on, man. Come on, man. Anyway, that's the monologue from Tucker Carlson. That's the story with Hunter Biden. Let's do two more stories. And I don't even think I need to talk about a clown world, do I? I think this whole video was kind of a clown world. I don't even think I have a clown world prepared, to be quite honest. Ukraine, the counteroffensive has already got bogged down. That's the collective West media. Those are the titles they're running with. Yeah, they need a false flag. They need something big to happen. Keep an eye out for the ZNPP. They need something big to happen. But BlackRock, James O'Keefe Media, he exposed BlackRock in the latest undercover video, and he had this BlackRock recruiter spilling the beans to, I guess he was on a couple of dates with this person, with this girl. I don't know how O'Keefe does it, but I imagine he gets these girls, and these guys think that they have a chance to score with these girls. And so in order to score with these girls, they talk about all the mischievous things that they're doing, working for these big neo-lib globalist organizations so that they can impress the girl they're on a date with. That's the way this one looks. Anyway, they got this BlackRock recruiter. He talked about BlackRock and how it has its fingers just about in everything, basically controls and runs the world. He said something along the lines of, it's really cheap to buy a senator. It only costs like $10,000. That's how much it costs. So that's what this BlackRock guy said. He said $10K and you owned the U.S. senators. And his date, this undercover date that was with him, she asks him about, what did she ask him about? The war in Ukraine. And he's like, yeah, BlackRock, war is great. War is great for the media. War is great for BlackRock because when Russia invades Ukraine and they blow up, I think he said when they invade Ukraine and blow up like a wheat silo, that's the example that he gave. They blow up a wheat silo. Well, the price of wheat goes up. We already know what's going to happen. So we buy low, then we sell high, and then we buy again when it goes back down. And anyway, you guys know how the game works. And BlackRock is in on all of this. They understand what's happening and when things are going to go down and when false flags are going to go down, I imagine. And they know when to buy and when to sell. And that's basically what he said. He said war is great for business. So BlackRock, according to this recruiter, he's like, BlackRock is all in on war. And he used the example of Ukraine and wheat. Wheat and fertilizer stocks and all of these things. And that's how BlackRock makes a ton of money. So O'Keefe, that guy, he always delivers the goods, man. He's amazing. He is absolutely amazing. An amazing journalist is James O'Keefe. And let's do a story, a real news story. I say real news because this one is coming from Lavrov, a real professional foreign minister. And a warning from Lavrov. And he was speaking with the media the other day. and he referenced an interview from the NATO chief, Stoltenberg, an interview that Stoltenberg gave on Sunday with Germany's Welt am Sonntag, where Stoltenberg said, and I quote, "Peace cannot mean freezing the conflict and accepting a deal that is dictated by Russia. Only Ukraine can define the conditions that are acceptable." And Lavrov, he commented on Stoltenberg's statements in this interview with Germany's Welt. And Lavrov said, if NATO, through the mouth of Stoltenberg, once again declares that they are against freezing, as they say, the conflict in Ukraine, then they want to fight, Lavrov told a press conference. And this is the important part from Lavrov's statement. And I'm going to end the video with this statement. A serious statement. So instead of ending the video with the clown world, we're going to end this video with a serious warning and statement from Lavrov. He said, well, let them fight. We are ready for this. We have long understood the goals of NATO in the situation around Ukraine, which have been formed for many years. If they want to fight, let them fight. We are ready for this. We've been ready for this for many years. That's the video, everyone. The Duran locals.com. Let's walk this way. You can find us on Rumble, Telegram, BitChute, Odyssey, and Rockfin. And go to the Duran shop. All right, Alexander, let's talk about pick up a t-shirt, a Duran t-shirt, 10% off. Use the code Good Day, or maybe pick up a Duran backpack. I think you may be able to see the logo back there. That is it for today. From Nicosia, Cyprus. Take care, everybody.